I mean, I don't think an undefeated run is off the table whatsoever.
I don't either. I think this is it. I mean, I think
after the first 2 games, your first 2 games are tough. Get past those, and then you can start stacking up wins.
This is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
21 questions here on KC Sports Network. What's up, everybody? Ken Swanson here with his Dirkness. 21 questions is sponsored by Braden's Hope, doing outstanding work for childhood cancer. Description in the link. You can find out how to donate there. I tried to get Dirk on in June, and Dirk told me he was in the Amazon rainforest while he was there. Dirk, are you very well traveled this summer? Is that what I'm hearing?
I have been around, and I did big time you. That's exactly what I was going for. But it was accurate. I was in the Amazon rainforest.
Dude, I purposely wanted to hold some of this back for recording. So I just wanted what have you been doing this summer?
Oh, just my typical summer little siesta here. But no, we traveled down to Brazil and Peru for a couple weeks. It was a good time. My sister-in-law's from Peru. We got ushered around there. In Brazil, I didn't know you could go just hang out in the rainforest, but you can apparently, and it was awesome.
You see anything cool?
Oh, tons of animals. Yeah, sloths, pink dolphins that only exist in fresh water. I think only in the Amazon. They're ugly as hell. All kinds of birds and monkeys and some weird animals I didn't even know what they were. I already forgot, but yeah, great time.
I can only imagine what a pink dolphin looks like.
They're ugly, man. Ugly. Google it sometime. They're hideous looking.
I don't think I want to. But yeah, man, I'm glad
they look like a hairless cat. That's what they look like.
Okay. Well, a big hairless cat with a bottlenose that can swim. That's great, man. We were talking right before, and it sounds like you haven't done it. When was the last time you did a podcast?
Would have been the Super Bowl recap show. So February. It's been a minute.
That is. I'm glad you're back, man. Do we know? Do we know plans for Amateur Hour coming up?
We'll be back. Yeah, should be releasing Tuesday nights, Wednesday mornings, recording on Tuesday nights at least. But yeah, we'll be back this year for show. When going for the 3-peat, we got to be around this year.
But when are you starting though?
I think we're doing a couple preview shows, so a couple weeks before the season. I think it's August 20th. I want to say is the first. Yeah, August 20th. I think is our planned first show.
I think it's wild to see the transformation of Amateur Hour into this cross-country Zoom style kind of, from where we were, where I was sitting in a room with you guys and Ryan was literally pressing play on a computer and pressing record so he could play the song and recording on a recorder. And now you guys are cross-country and still doing your thing together. I kind of love it.
I mean, that's nothing. We talk to Nick Wright every week, just with him on a speakerphone sitting right by the recorder, and that was the audio quality that people got. But the content was good enough that people just put up with that shit.
It was the best, man. It was literally my first podcast ever. When I think I tell this story. My wife was pregnant. I'd listen to you guys. I'd just be out there just playing video games while she's sleeping at 5:30 at night, and I'm listening to y'all. It was great. It was fun, and then I got to be on it a few years later, and I was like, "This is great." So
that was our niche, was dudes with pregnant wives that need something to listen to.
Yeah, just really carving out a niche there. You guys really captured that market well. I'll never forget. I came on the show. You called me a trusted dork.
A trusted dork?
Yes, you said. And here we have trusted dork Ken Swanson of Arrowhead Pride. And I said, you know what? I'll take it. I'm just glad to be here.
I think it's because you were a go-getter and you really dove in and knew your shit. I think it was a term of endearment.
I also remember Ryan. We hung out for I don't know, probably a good hour, maybe more afterwards. And Ryan got so existential on us. I think you guys have been getting into some stuff, so that might have been fueled by something there, but it was so funny. It was just, Ryan got so existential during that hangout afterwards. It was just, it left a lasting impression on me. So clearly.
That's what it's like.
Uh-huh. I get the allure of your dynamic there. Anyways, this is 21 Questions. We answer questions from the KCSN Discord. If you are a subscriber to KCSN Substack, you get access to a Discord, which is a really fun Chiefs community. Hundreds and hundreds of Chiefs fans talking about the Chiefs and all kinds of other stuff.
Oh, you told me this was 21 Questions on Dylan Raiola and my NCAA dynasty in year 2032. Is that correct?
Yes. I blew past that piece of it. I thought it was assumed.
I'm ready.
Yeah, so that's the subject line of when you see the YouTube, it's going to be a thumbnail of you smiling as you are right now with a picture of Dylan Raiola, and it's going to be like, I won 11 national titles in Lincoln, Nebraska. So that's
for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. That is the first. That's the first question: is how's your dynasty doing?
Oh, they're pretty good. I'm kind of figuring out recruiting. I'm not actually that far along. But I am turning Nebraska around. I went to a bowl game, actually, which is, big for a program like Nebraska, which has been struggling a little bit. So I got them there first, and now really churning out recruits and turning things around.
I'm happy for you. That rules, and that rules with an RH. You see what I did there? Uh-huh. Here's the first real question. Simu7. If Disney movie makes a new Goofy movie, what is the plot?
What makes a new Goofy movie? What is the plot?
Yeah, if Disney makes a new Goofy movie, what is the plot? I have it.
Okay, please go.
Max is a dad. Goofy's a grandpa. And Goofy takes his grandchild, who he struggled to connect with, on a cross-country trip to see Goofy's version of Taylor Swift.
Okay. Is Kelsey involved in that?
Maybe, yeah. There's a hunky dog football player as well.
Yes.
Tell me that doesn't suck.
No, I'm watching. If it doesn't shows up, I'm watching.
And then there's going to be a new Powerline dance that all the kids will be doing. I actually might need to propose this.
Man, I haven't seen the Goofy movie in 25 years. I am not up to speed on it.
Oh, I watched it I have it on DVD, and we have it in our car. So my kids watch it all the time. So
watch movies in your car. Oh, I guess the kids watch movies.
I don't. I mean, it's just the kids in the back. They're watching the movies all the time.
In your Tesla, you're just crushing out movies while you're driving around.
I ain't that cool. I got a sweet deal on a 2013 Honda Pilot a few years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it just happens to be the luxury 2013 Honda Pilot, though. So it's got all the nice features in the back and stuff. So that's
nice. Your answer. I don't have an answer to that question. That's a tough one, especially for number one.
Hey, we're easing into this. Dirk. They just get harder from here.
Oh, boy.
Brian Dayball, this is from Take the Freak. Brian
Dayball, he asked a question?
Brian Dayball asks,
how can I lose some weight?
What happened in Kansas City? No, Take the Frank asks, Brian Dayball thinks he can run under a 7-second 40-yard dash. Do you think you can run a sub-7 40-yard dash right now, Dirk?
Me? Absolutely. I could run a sub-5 40-second 40-yard dash.
You really think so?
Hell yeah. I'm quick, baby.
You think you could step out right now?
Yeah.
And go sub-5?
4.97. You want to do it?
Kind of. I want you to record it.
I'll go run back and forth in my little one-bedroom apartment, just running. It's more of a shuttle, but
dude, you really do think you can run sub-5 right now?
So I actually did this. I think I got a 5.2. I did this at the Super Bowl, extravaganza or whatever when it was in LA. I think I got a 5.2 and definitely hurt my knee doing it. Now I'm not saying I wouldn't get hurt. I would definitely get hurt, a hamstring or a knee in there. But I'm fast. I could definitely go under 5 when I was in my peak.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty impressed. That's That's pretty good for, being the age in which you are. I'm not going to expose you, but, No, that's impressive, man. I don't think I think I could run sub 7, but I think it'd be pretty close. I haven't sprinted in.
You think you're slower than Brian Dable?
No, I think I could pull it off, but I think it'd be closer. I think it'd be closer to 6 at this point. I haven't sprinted 40 yards in 10 years. That's not true, but it's close. I mean, it's been a while. I don't know, man. Craig is great asks, rank these guys most to least likely to make the team. So most to least likely here. Irv Smith, CJ Hansen, Kamal Hadden, Louis Rees-Sammet.
Say the middle two again.
All right, so we got Irv Smith.
Position.
Irv Smith, the tight end. CJ Hansen, the guard. Kamal Hadden, the corner. Louis Rees-Sammet, the running back rugby player. Most likely to least likely.
I mean, I'll go Irv Smith number 1 because he's an actual NFL player. I know I've seen Gray and Wiley run into the 2 and 3, but still, I think he's a quality NFL player. They might keep 4 tight ends too.
Mm-hmm.
The corner seems like he would have a real tough time just because I feel like we have good depth there.
Yep.
So a lot of bodies. So I'd almost put him at last. The running back is interesting. I am not impressed with our running back depth chart here. Like the depth at running back. That's one of my takes going in here. I wonder if we sign like a veteran guy, but I don't know, Clyde is your number 2 and then totally unproven guys behind him. I would like to see more than that. I mean, obviously the rugby dude isn't that. So I will put the guard. What was his name again?
CJ Hansen.
CJ Hansen. I'll put him second. Reese the rugger at third, and then Kamala Harris at fourth.
I think you just fell out of a coconut tree. Arrow asks, Ian Book or Chris Oladokun for QB3. I'm still going Chris Oladokun. I'm not the biggest Ian Book fan, really haven't ever been.
He was at Notre Dame, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. He was at Notre Dame. I think Chris Oladokun makes a lot more sense as QB3, and QB3 is a practice squad player, if you ask me. So
yeah, there's certain kind of rules. I was just gonna say, because with a trusted backup like Wentz, I would think just 2 guys on the active roster, but there is a weird QB3 rule now. Is that right?
I think they can. I think they can have a third QB on game day, basically as an extra. You can keep one player extra active, essentially. But you have to roster them on the 53, I believe, and so I think that's where it gets a little bit tricky.
Well, if the rules are still in favor, I'll say they only take 2 quarterbacks
for sure.
I mean,
but who's the practice squad QB3 de facto?
Oh, I'll go with Oladokun over Ian Book.
I think
Ian
so.
Book's not doing it for me.
I tend to agree. Kyle C asks, you can take $30,000 immediately, or you can or you can play a week in Major League Baseball without being paid. What are you taking?
At my skill level to go play in the Major League Baseball for a week?
Yeah.
That would be horrifying. I would rather pay someone $30,000 than to go play a week in the Major League Baseball. Oh my God, that'd be terrifying.
Wouldn't it be kind of fun to say you're a professional athlete for a week, though?
No, not. No. It would be the worst professional athlete of all time. There would be clips of me going around. I am not a baseball player, so I would not fare well, and I would be terrified of every single pitch. I would just dive out of the box immediately. I could check some balls in the outfield. I could do that, but there's no way I'd ever touch a pitch.
Hey, look, if you've got that sub 5 speed, you've probably got more range than some of the right fielders out there.
I can pinch run too. I can run around. I can do that, but I am not touching a ball.
This has gone from, I can run a 4.940 to, I'm a pinch runner. I'm someone they're actively putting on the field for speed purposes.
Terrence Gorham.
I actually think you're probably more like Billy Butler doing that, honestly, if we're being real. I was a baseball player through college, and I think I'd still take the $30,000.
Yeah, easily.
Give me that money. If Tucker Franklin was in the Olympics, which sport would it be?
He was in the Olympics. What sport would it be? I would say like I'm thinking like a shot putter.
Ooh,
like a sturdy man like that. I could see him getting spin around. He's kind of quick too, because he can do like the spin around that you got to do before you launch it. Or like the hammer throw. I'm not sure if the hammer throw is still around. Do they still throw hammers?
For our purposes, yes, they do. I don't know. I only know about this every 4 years, and the track and field stuff hasn't even started. So
that's the problem here.
Exactly.
But I will go shot put for Tucker.
I like that. I think the funniest would be to watch him do water polo or gymnastics, like for entertainment factor. Like
even bars.
Yes, like let's throw them out there. I think put him on the rings. Just watch his face. Like he gets. I'd kill for that. Rugby Fox. What Olympic sport would you perform the best at?
Would I perform the best at? Let me think. Breakdancing? Is that your answer? Breakdancing?
No. That's a great answer though.
I'm decent at table tennis. I mean, obviously, I probably couldn't get a point off any of those guys. You got an answer? Go ahead. I'm gonna think a little bit.
I think I'm not good at golf, but I feel like I could not be completely. I mean, I would be dead last. Don't get me wrong, but like, I mean, it'd be like, yeah, this, I'd be 30 over, or something, 35 over, probably on the course, whatever course that they're playing, So I think I'll
go beach volleyball, because I'm actually doing that actively. So I live in the city with all like the people that are in like the beach in the Olympics for beach volleyball. They live right in my town, the town over. So it's a very volleyball centric town. We lean into that. So I play a lot of beach volleyball. So I'll go with that.
Also, what sport do you wish you could perform the best at?
Wish I could perform the best at curling.
That's Winter Olympics. But
did it say summer?
I mean, I think it's assumed it's summer since we're in the Summer Olympics.
I gotcha. I'm gonna go with synchronized diving. I wish I was good at that.
Ooh. I'll also go golf for this answer.
Come on.
That's true. I would love to be awesome at golf. That'd be fun.
The beloved dork is back. What was I calling you?
Trusted dork.
Trusted dork.
Exactly. Okay. We're getting just so many Olympics questions. Honestly,
bring them.
This is I'm the most, that you might be the person I'm most excited to be asking these questions, because it's just, I think you're the most interesting to answer these. This is from Lee 87 Raiola for Heisman, by the way.
My man.
So yeah,
my man.
Congratulations, KCSN is recognized as an Olympic committee. You and me are on the men's gymnastics team, and they're going for the gold. Choose your 3 teammates, and what events are each of you doing? We gotta pick 3.
Goodness gracious.
I have the first one.
Okay, yeah, let's collaborate here.
I think Maddie Lane's a lock.
Okay.
Maddie Lane is a guy that lifts with great frequency. He is very strong. He has a resting heartbeat of 44. Like this is peak male. Yes, peak male health right now. Maddie Lane.
Isn't that like dead?
Dead. Yeah, he's going to live to be 150.
He's in a coma. Right?
Yeah. Yes, but he's still lifting through it. So some would argue that some of the episodes we have, he's in a coma. But I think Maddie's, just because of the pure strength, is a lock, and I think he's what's the hardest one? I think we put Maddie on the palm horse. Yeah.
Okay.
or the high bar.
There's a lot of events.
There is. You got your vault, your floor exercise, horizontal bar, parallel bars, pommel horse, high bar,
rings. Oh man.
I'll do the. Can I nominate? All right, we gotta get 3. We gotta get 3 more. So I think Maddie's a lock. Okay. Who else you got? You got anybody?
I mean, Tucker's fairly nimble. Didn't we ever have a scouting combine? We never did that or anything.
No, I don't. Well, I think they did at the combine.
We should. Yeah. Oh, that was it. I think BJ and Tucker were doing things.
Yep. I think we could get Tucker on there. We could put Tucker on the. I want to put Tucker on the vault. Just watch him fly. Just
okay.
Wee.
Oh. Okay.
All right.
Well, we come with some rhythm. We got anyone with rhythm?
I'm gonna nominate myself. I'm gonna nominate myself for floor exercise because I don't know if I can do the flips, but I can do some of the presentation in between the flips.
Okay.
And so, like, I feel like I can at least, I can move a little bit. I have enough rhythm to pull off, pretending to be on the floor exercise. So, like, yeah, I can. Give me the floor exercise.
Okay. Okay.
So we got the horizontal bar and the parallel bars.
And
we got you and a 5th person.
Okay.
The high bar.
I could see Ryan being good at rings for some reason. I don't know why that is.
All right.
I could see Ryan on the rings.
Okay. I could see that too. So what does that leave you with? Parallel bars?
Yeah, I guess. I'm not excited about it, but
I'm not excited about it. You kind of just, is there any one of them that you would have volunteered for? Or were you ready to do the floor exercises?
I mean, I think the pommel horse, maybe. I think that could be fun. Does that take a lot of strength? Not a lot of upper body strength going on here.
You know what? You could swing your legs around that thing a little bit, and then we can just put Maddie on whatever else. Let's do that.
I think Maddie could be on like an uneven bars or like the horizontal bar.
We could just make.
There's the high bar, the parallel bars, and the uneven bars. Is that right?
I think I thought the unevens were just for the women's side.
Oh, okay.
But I could be wrong.
Okay.
I'm only familiar with gymnastics about once every 4 years. So.
I think we got our squad, but I would like to see like a scouting combine before committing to any of this.
Yeah. Maddie'd do very well at this point. He's somehow still 28. We've been doing this for 8 years. Anyways, we're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this.
We appreciate you supporting KC Sports Network by listening to our podcast. You have helped us become the highest ranked Chiefs podcast network in 2022 and 2023. And don't forget about our daily Substack newsletter, the best written analysis you can find on the Chiefs straight to your inbox every day. kcsn.substack.com.
With big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone in any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with your existing contacts with you. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/KCSN21. That's mintmobile.com/KCSN21. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/KCSN21. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
You've heard about our partnership with Mint Mobile. Well, we have some questions, 421 questions from the Mint Mobile text line. Tucker D. Franklin is doing a tremendous job manning that text line. I definitely have asked him for seltzer picks on that, but he's also given us a few questions here that we've gotten from the text line. So Danielle C. asks, NFL 100 has revealed 11 through 100 and not a single Chiefs player. I know the Chiefs are getting 3 in the top 10. Joe Thuney was at 101. I know outside fan fatigue has set in. Has fellow player fatigue of the Chiefs set in as well? Interesting question. What say you, Dirk?
I can see that. I mean, some jealousy, like they don't want to go there. That's it. They said that Thuney was 101. They came out and said that.
I think so. Yeah,
that's interesting. Well, I mean, so who should be on there? Creed should definitely be on there. McDuffie should definitely be on there. I was shocked that L'Jarius Sneed is not going to be on there. I mean, he's not a current Chief, I know. But holy shit, how is L'Jarius Sneed not in the top 100 players after the season he just had? So that's pretty insane. I guess those are the guys I would argue for, along with Thuney. But Tooney's kind of boring, so I could see how he would slide through. But yes, I would say there's definitely some. I don't know if I call it fatigue. Yeah, I mean caused by fatigue, but jealousy. I mean the Chiefs have enough going for them. We don't need to give them this too.
All right, we got another text message here on the text line. Why is everyone so confident that McCole Hardman will make the roster? I don't think there's I mean, at this point, I haven't been overly impressed with the rest of the receiver room. I think there's a reason that they brought him back when they did, because maybe they aren't thrilled with the depth on this roster. They actively sought what he brings to the table with the vertical speed. I know they've added a lot of vertical speed. They've seen him used in special teams. I don't know. I could see them valuing his skill set and over, some of the guys at the bottom of the roster that they're kind of churning through right now. So I'm not too surprised. I think he's a lock if you ask me right now. And I think, he's getting some run with the ones too. So I think, I don't know. I'm pretty confident he's going to make the 53-man roster. I don't know about you.
I would say so. I mean, especially after everything they went through last year at the position. Like, I know McCole isn't like the most trusted person there, but he has, been here the longest. So at least you kind of know what you got, and it's a person who should know the system. With these unknown guys, coming in at Worthy and Hollywood, obviously, and then Rasheed's only in his second year. Like, just some depth behind them of someone who what they can do, and just trusted bodies in case we get in situations again similar to last year, and we had to overpay to get McCole back in here. And, just to try and stabilize the position. And, I don't know how big of a role he played in that, but it did eventually pay off where they got that position solidified for the playoffs.
He made a couple plays and he stretched the field and threatened a little bit vertically, and I think there was some value there. Jordan Smith asks, what do you think of the Tua contract situation? If you don't have a special quarterback like Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Burrow, Stroud, Caleb, etc., why sign him long term? Purdy is coming up. Instead of paying a slightly above average quarterback top of market money, why not trade him for a boatload of picks? What say you?
Man, haven't had these debates since 2016. When we were talking about this every single week of what to do with a middle of the road quarterback. So I don't know. Tua, he kind of fits that system well, and he did have a great season. They melted down in the playoffs, obviously. I don't know if that was definitely on Tua or just the team in general, but that's a really tough situation for them to try and win at Arrowhead. They're a team that kind of needs like home field advantage more than anybody else because every other good team in the AFC is going to be cold weather. So it's going to be tough sledding for them regardless. In general, I would not pay a quarterback unless you think he's, the difference maker. Unless you think you've got the guy. And, just look at the past Super Bowls of who's been making the Super Bowl. It's not like veteran. Like, I know Stafford got in there. He was kind of like the one-off. And then other than that, it's like Brady, Mahomes. And then everybody else is a quarterback on a rookie deal. Like, I don't think that's a surprise. And I don't think like our main competitors were like the Bills and the Bengals. And I don't think that's necessarily because they're like the second and third best quarterbacks. I think they are. But it's because they are that good and they're on that rookie deal. So they could have a great team around them. So in general, to answer the question, I would probably not pay a guy like Tua. But the problem with that is you might risk a year of trying to groom the next quarterback, whoever you get. And they're not in a prime position to get a top guy.
And no one can, I don't think these decision makers can afford to do that. And that's where
it's just something that people don't usually factor in. It's like these people's jobs are on the line. It's not just, sitting at home playing a dynasty and just doing, whatever you want and, fucking around. It's these jobs are the one.
There's a lot of layers to this that we don't really appreciate. And it's those decision makers having to, put their necks out. And I think Joe Shane said it on the HBO stuff. It's like, you only get one opportunity most likely in this job. You're going to get one chance to be a GM. There's not a ton of teams, unless you're Tom Telesco somehow, getting a second opportunity to be a GM. And so some people are protective of that. Can 10-7 get you there a lot of times? Yeah, you might. You're probably not getting fired at 10-7. 7-10 you are. Do you have the clout within the organization to be able to take a season and try to go after a young quarterback, an unknown quarterback? And you heard, I'm citing this, I'm citing Hard Knocks a lot, but like when they were having the conversation about Daniel Jones versus drafting a quarterback, and they looked at the last, I don't know, however many years, it was like a 30% hit rate on quarterbacks drafted in the first round recently. So it's like, do you take that, you roll the dice? Sure, maybe you can get a generational talent. Maybe you can get a top tier guy. But, the older I get, the more I understand paying these mid-tier quarterbacks. You're going to need to get a little lucky to win a Super Bowl anyway. When you've got some of these superhuman freaks and they don't grow on trees and they're really rare to find. And there's a little bit of randomness, I think, to a degree of them being found. I mean, Mahomes wasn't the first quarterback taken when he got taken. Josh Allen wasn't the first quarterback taken when he got, taken. So it's like, I don't know, just go take that. I get now more than ever teams paying this mid-level quarterback. So
back in the day with Alex Smith, were you kind of pro, like, let's pay Alex Smith and keep him here? Or were you kind of like, let's bring in a rookie?
No, I was, let's do something for the first time in 30 years in this organization, and the timing is now.
But looking back, do you think that she's played it wrong? I mean, obviously they got Mahomes, so everything's going to work out like that. But should they have moved off Alex Smith earlier, or was there was there some value in like steadying the ship and becoming just like a solid foundation of a team for a couple of years in there?
Yeah,
you weren't able to break through with like a playoff one.
Do you think, well, two things. I think there was a lot of stability in that organization to take the swing. And that is a very rare occurrence. I think that's kind of the difference, is the Chiefs haven't had a losing season under Andy Reid at the point that they take Mahomes. Do you think Tua's a better quarterback than Alex Smith?
I'd say they're about even. I had Alex Smith as probably, he's in that 12th to 15th best quarterback range. I would say Tua's about the same. Yeah, he fits the system really well, it seems like.
Yeah, I think Tua's a little bit more upside, and like that's probably why they're banking on him getting better and taking an ascending. And also, yeah, this is 26-year-old, Tua. This isn't 31-year-old Alex Smith. Like there's, 26-year-old Tua versus 26-year-old Alex Smith's not even an argument, right? So, like, I think it's not a complete apples to apples comparison. Like, I think Alex Smith was on the wrong side of 30 when they wound up drafting Mahomes. They'd kind of gotten, as far as they could. I think in modern NFL, you've got to, I don't know, if you've got a quarterback that's worth something, you pay him. And I think like the Lions, I think you've got to do a good job around that quarterback. You got to do a better job around that quarterback than other teams might have to. And that's where things get tricky. But the Dolphins will be right there. They're going to be right there this year, and they're going to be right there for, next couple of years, I think.
The other thing is how quick these teams are like willing to come off these high paid quarterbacks now, like eating that dead money with Russell Wilson and just like cutting bait. It's kind of interesting, even though they're just taking a huge cap hit, but they are way more willing to do that now and just go on to the next guy.
Yeah, I think the difference is, though, the Broncos aren't in any remote situation of being a contender, and the Dolphins see an opportunity to win their conference, or win a division, right? Like they think they can be right there. And
they lost a lot of guys, didn't they? They've downgraded since last season, wouldn't you say?
They've lost a few players, yeah. I think, they've need to restructure some things for sure, but they still have elite wide receiver play. They still have a pretty good offensive line. They've let some guards go out and get paid $20 million, and they've let Christian Wilkins walk. But I still think they're going to be a pretty good football team. And they stay healthy, they should still be there.
I thought they were dangerous last year. Just their defensive players got hurt, and that ended up costing them games. And then they had to come to Arrowhead in the freezing cold.
Yeah, and if they, if things swing their way, they could be kind of dangerous if they're getting to host every game in Miami. Like, don't get me wrong, I still think a lot more has to go right for Miami than, say, the Chiefs, but it's probably a pretty strong bet to make if you are Chris Greer in Miami, if you're trying to make that decision. Still has a Twitter asks, potential defensive ends the Chiefs could acquire. I don't think there's any defensive end worth really making an impact in free agency right now. So, like, my only overarching take is I think it's got to be via trade if they're going to find one. I don't know how interested they'd be in a Matt Judon, but I know his situation has become a little bit, a little bit dicey there, and he's trying to get a little bit more money out in New England. But the Chiefs have more cap space than they have historically to try to make a move and add a defensive end. I don't know how many are really going to wind up becoming available, but like, if they're a team looking to maybe trade some, to make a move, like a Judon, if he becomes available, could be an interesting one. But it's pickings are slim right now. Like, I don't think there's a ton of guys that are going to ask or request for a trade. If you go and look at some of the contracts, they're all newly assigned, or they're rookie deals and all that stuff. I just don't know if there's a ton of guys that really are going to fit that mold right now, and that's a little concerning. You just hope they can find one here.
What's the thought process? Because when I look at the depth chart, I see depth. I know Omenahu is hurt right now, but you got Karlaftis and Dana, and then Felix, who should be coming around and playing a big role. And I liked Malik Herring, what I've seen from him, so I see depth at the position. What's the thought process behind adding a guy?
I think the thought process is, do you have enough pass rush ability? Like, I think Malik Herring is good for what he is. Felix is a big unknown, and I don't think he's looked particularly strong to this point. And so if he's not coming around, and by the way, I mean, Mike Dana is not a strong pass rusher either. He's a fantastic role player, and I'm super glad he signed to a multi-year extension, but he's not a guy that's going to be super disruptive. So you're looking at George Karlaftis, and you're looking at an unknown with Felix. I don't think there's a ton of depth at the pass rush, from an impact pass rush, and I think that's where some of the concern is coming.
I feel like you at least have to give Felix a good shot. Like, I don't want to see him buried like he was last year, and he probably wasn't ready last year, so that was fine. But I don't want to see him buried this year. Like, he's a first round pick. You got to give him his shot, and maybe if you get through 8 weeks and he has not produced anything, then I think maybe you start looking around. What's the idea on Omenahu? Is there any idea when he's back at all?
It would be I mean, he's like 6 months removed from the ACL, so I don't think he's going to be here week 1. So you're going to have a stretch of the season where you don't have him. Okay. And yeah, you could maybe try to roll Felix out there, but if Felix isn't ready yet, I mean, that's a scary proposition for your pass rush. There's not a ton of quality there. And like, that's, I think, the concerning part of it. And like, only 4 defensive ends is very light for Steve Spagnuolo, and there's really not a 5th defensive end out there. I mean, Truman Jones is DN5 right now, and I like Truman Jones, but I just, that's not a lot of defensive end depth either. Like, it's only 4, right? And like,
because you're saying Herring is the 4th because Omenahu is hurt.
Because Omenahu's on the pup still. Yeah. So once Omenahu's back, I feel a lot better. It's just like, you don't know what that's going to be.
Justin Houston, he sit around Dunlap. We got former DNs everywhere.
Yeah, those are. I just don't know if they're impacting the pass rush.
Get Tamba back.
Hey, he's been working.
I love Tamba working with these guys. He was working with obviously Karlaftis last year, and he was working with Felix this year, correct?
He worked with both Felix and George this year.
Oh man, I give them a boost because of that. Like, I think a lot of what George developed last year, I mean, I give a chunk of that credit to Tamba. I love seeing that. I love Tamba.
John Does Stuff asks, as it is the Olympic season, what is the most over and underrated world sporting event? Olympics, FIFA World Cup, Ryder President's Cup, World Baseball Classic, America's Cup, Tour de France, or other? I think the most overrated is the Tour de France. Don't like it.
Strong.
Don't care.
I think when if I had any idea what was going on, it's just like I'm oblivious to it. I've never watched like 10 seconds of a Tour de France.
The idea of watching a singular biker try to, run out there for
I mean, it's uber impressive, I'm sure, but yeah, in terms of entertainment value, there's not a lot going on.
You're watching a guy ride the coast for 30 miles or something like that, or like for a whole day. It's like I'm sure it's impressive. Congrats, but like I can't do it. I think it's the most overrated. Underrated.
What's the America's Cup? Is America's Cup sailing? I think it's sailing.
I was hoping you'd know.
I'm looking it up.
Underrated for me is the Ryder Cup because I've just really enjoyed it the last couple of years, and kind of I didn't get to golf until the last couple of years, and I've really enjoyed it. So
get with the golf.
Yeah, man, I'm all in. I'm all in. It's it gives me joy as a mid-30s dad of 2 in the suburbs. So it's like my favorite thing now. I love it.
I love the World Cup and the Summer Olympics. I don't know if they're underrated necessarily, but I mean, I've been watching Summer Olympics for like 4 hours every single night. Like I love, there's so many events that I enjoy watching. And it's just, even the lesser events, I like seeing like these weird little niche sports, but like the very top level of it. I think it's very, fun to watch that. So I don't know if I'd call it underrated, but definitely Summer Olympics is awesome. I look forward to it.
Any overrated?
Overrated. I'll go with the Ryder Cup because I'm tired of hearing you talk about golf.
Well, that's fine. I get it. I need to get knocked down a peg. It's fine. Just DRK asks, what are the best reasons the Chiefs let Nick Bolton walk after this season?
Ooh. Well, because they got a better linebacker on the team right now.
I didn't say that.
I like Bolton. I think the Bolton hate goes way too far. I think he plays a role.
It does.
And I buy into the, his intellectual side helping Spagnuolo, and I'm cool with all that. So I think people are kind of, I feel like our group chat with the KSCSN and just like other guys that are close are like extremely fearful of paying him. I am not like that. I would be fine paying him. I might be upset at the number a little bit, but you're kind of always upset when you pay someone new, and they seem like they always make too much money at the beginning. But I think Bolton and Tranquil together can be a very good duo. I was pushing for those two to play more by each other all year last year. And Willie Gay was a good player, and I think he had some value, but I think he just wasn't at the level of these two. So I'm very excited to see how these two look next to each other all season long. And if it goes as well as I think it'll go, then I will be fine with paying Nick Bolton.
I think there's a lot of layers to it, and I think it gets very charged because he went to Mizzou. So like I think that's where he becomes a lot more polarizing, even though I don't know. I think it's more, I don't know. I'm not like a diehard fan of Nick Bolton, but like I'm not over the moon for him either. Like I think
you wanted us to draft him, right?
I didn't want him to be a first round pick of the Kansas City Chiefs. I tweeted that out, and yeah, it aged terribly because they took him in the second
6 months beforehand, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, they didn't have a first round pick by the time it came around too. So it turned out great. But I didn't think he was a first round player. I think there's limitations to what he is, but I also buy into the value that he presents as a Steve Spagnuolo extension on the field. And so like I think that's where it gets a little bit tricky to try to evaluate that. Because
I think like his flaws are like very glaring because you can see him like get beat in coverage a little bit, and you're like, damn, come on, Bolton. Mm-hmm. It's very hard to see like his strengths, which would be like the second coach on the field, because it's hard to see that like play out on your TV screen.
I think one of the things is like when you talk about, Bolton loved the call that Spags made that blitz on 3rd and 4, right? And Bolton was convicted. And so Spags saw the conviction with Bolton on it, and he knew
that's huge.
So that back and forth between him and Spags is huge, and that value is huge. But he struggles in coverage significantly. So how do you value that? How do you put a number to that? Because he's not a guy that can cover the way, you can't put him in man coverage and expect him to make plays, right? He's just not been consistent. But he still finds his way around the football several times to, recover a fumble or be there for a tip and all that stuff. It's a really tricky line to draw. The best reason, I think the thing that gets missed with the argument around this is I don't know how, like for me, and I know there's other people at KCSN that feel the same, I don't feel comfortable paying any linebacker that much money. Like, and
Philosophically,
it's kind of like, I think it's the running back kind of argument similar on offense. It's like, there's not any linebackers I really feel comfortable paying $17 million. Like, outside of
top of the line, like Fred Warner. I mean,
outside of it, the list, like, if you ask me, if the Chiefs, I'll tell you this. Let's do this. It's like Fred Warner. Like, that's the list. If the Chiefs paid Roquan Smith $20 million, I wouldn't like it. They paid Tremaine Edmonds $18 million. I wouldn't like it. Matt Milano, $14 million. Yeah, I think about it. It's like, that's it though. Like, Patrick Queen, no. I'm going down the list of the top 5. That's the top 5 paid. I'd only pay 2 of them. And it's like, a lot of these other guys, I just wouldn't. I wouldn't pay. And so, I don't know. I think if Bolton's number comes in closer to that Matt Milano $15 million, I'm going to be okay with it. If it's Fred Warner's 19, I'm not gonna love it. But
so what if
philosophically, I wouldn't. I just don't pay linebackers that kind of money. Period. That's kind of where my.
What about like Trey Smith versus Nick Bolton? Is that an easy Trey Smith for you?
Trey Smith's gonna get $21 million. I wouldn't pay him either.
Bolton at 18 or Trey Smith at 20?
Oh, probably Bolton at 18. But I don't think this team can afford to pay either of those guys that kind of money. And like, that's tough, man. Like, you hear Butker's getting more money too. Like, there's some bills coming due with this team, and it's just like, man, I don't know if I'd extend Butker and get more money. I don't know. I think I'd cycle through a new kicker.
Can I just say, this isn't a question, or it's totally off topic, or somewhat off topic, but why do centers get paid less than guards? I've always held the belief that centers are more valuable. And so I kind of had forgotten this, but then like the Creed news about him possibly getting an extension came out. And I think you had a tweet that was like, I'd rather pay him $15 million than Trey Smith $20 million. And that's a no-brainer for me. Like, I would pay Creed more than Trey Smith straight up. And it's just weird to see like the markets for guard be so much higher than center. Like, I don't buy into that, and I don't understand it.
I think it's a slightly depressed market for sure, but also like the center is a position that's always getting some kind of help or being in a position of help in a pass rush perspective. There's very rarely a ton of one-on-ones between a center. So like, I think that's a little bit of the perspective there, is like, there's always just natural help for the center position. And so maybe, or they're the helper. And so maybe that's why the market's kind of been depressed a little bit. But, I think you have to pay one of those guys. And so I think I'd pay Creed 15. I'd go the cheaper route and try to cycle through the guards.
No-brainer for me.
Yeah. But the beautiful thing about the 2021 draft class is the Chiefs hit on linebacker, guard, center, and they got top of market players. The bad news is the Chiefs, you're going to either have to pay him or let him walk. And I think it's tough to say goodbye to those guys, but also like, when you're looking at the roster construction, I think it's tricky to, I think I could stomach them letting all 3 walk, put it that way. I'm more I kind of remove myself a little bit more from like, I don't know. I don't keep my emotional ties the same way. Like, I love these players, don't get me wrong, but like, it's also like, my loyalty lies to the Lombardi. And so trying to win the Lombardi, I find myself kind of being a more like, I don't know if you can pay interior offensive linemen and linebackers.
I'm happy to pay Creed. I think you can get by with not great players at guard. Like, I think you can hide a guard, sliding a center over to help, and whatnot. It's just like he's kind of congested in the middle there. And I think Trey Smith's not a perfect player either. I think he's had some struggles in pass protection. I know one of these years I was hard on him, and he was kind of not 100% most of the year, I believe. I can't remember if that was last year or 2 years ago. But I thought he kind of had a down year. And so I don't want to pay him $20 million for as much value as I know that he provides in the run game.
But back to just DRK's question, because we kind of went off on a tangent a little bit, but I think the best reasons to let Bolton walk would be like just not paying the linebacker position. And I mean, if the injuries pile up here another year, then you've got to look at that again as well. So
I want to pay Drew Tranquil all day when we paid him.
He's making.
I love Drew Tranquil.
I love Drew Tranquill too. He's making $6.3 million APY.
All day.
I think that was a fantastic value, and I think Drew Tranquill was outstanding last year. And he slid in and played a little bit of Mike too. So I think he did great. KC from KC, is this Chiefs team the team that has the best chance to go undefeated? And if not, what do you think could be the best record the 2024 Chiefs could achieve?
Well, first off, yes, because none of the other teams have gone undefeated. So, yes, they do have the best chance. But regardless, the spirit of the question. Sorry, I'm an asshole.
Natty Lane answer.
I mean, I can see it. I can see things lining up really well. I mean, they clearly had a glaring weakness at receiver last year, and they've addressed it. And I don't think they lost Snead, obviously. What was their second biggest loss from last season? Refresh me.
Snead and, I mean, I guess. I mean, let me look at the compensatory formula real quick.
I feel like they're a stronger team than last year, and they were far from a perfect team last year. They had many faults, but with the
Nick Allegretti, Tommy Townsend, Willie Gay, and Mike Edwards were their only compensatory eligible losses. That's it.
I mean, that's a strong damn team when you've shorn up your biggest weakness.
Shorn. D with a D.
Shorn up.
Shorned.
They shredded
up.
They shorned the weakness at the receiver position.
Shipped up.
So if they can get the offense back to, the pre-2023 levels, and the defense can be at the 2023 level, I mean, that is a all-world team. I mean, that's what we were kind of hoping for last year, and I kind of based all my optimism like the offense is going to figure it out, and they have the defense. And it may have taken all season, and we mostly got in the playoffs, but I think the offense could even be at a higher level than they were even in the playoffs last year at the regular season, because I think there's just more talent here. And maybe they've kind of figured out some of the issues that came last year. Like, I trust Andy Reid to kind of take last year as a whole and be like, okay, here's what we need to do to improve. And given him 6 months to do that, I think it will happen. So, I mean, I don't think an undefeated run is off the table whatsoever.
I don't either. I think this is it. I mean, I think
after the first two games, your first two games are tough. Get past those, and then you can start stacking up wins.
I think this team's similar to the run it back year. That team went 14-2 in the regular season,
and should have been 15-1.
Yeah, and I mean this team, there's a chance that this team could run the table because they're playing at Denver in Week 18, and so when all the starters wouldn't be playing, they could
for an undefeated season. No fucking way, they are all playing. I would lose my mind.
They ain't doing that, but I think this team takes a step.
16-0 in the last game. They're going to rest their starters.
You don't get kudos for that. I don't think. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you do. Fuck yeah, you do. Going down in history.
I think they're more focused
I'm gonna
on
choke you through this computer screen.
A three-peat's more valuable than that.
Both. Give me both.
I'm good. I don't care.
Hungry.
I'd rather focus on the ring. And hey, look, that the last team that did that,
we still talk about them. We still talk about that team.
Yeah, they took a fat juicy L to Eli Manning.
And we talk about them way more than the 2018 Patriots or the 2016 Patriots. Nobody cares about those teams. We care about the 2007 Patriots.
Do you think
they go out on history more revered than the Super Bowl winning teams?
I think a team that three-peats is more revered than any team in NFL history.
That's fair.
The three-peat team that Tom Brady couldn't do.
Noise. The Chiefs are 13-0, chasing a three-peat. The noise around every single game. Oh my God! It would be every single play is just it's do or die. That would be off the charts.
Well, if they're 13-0, they've got Browns, Texans, Steelers, Broncos left. Doable stretch, baby.
4 dubs with the starters in.
Doable stretch. What worries you the most about this team so far? That's from Mike Denny.
Worries you the most? You got an answer?
Left tackle.
I
think it's left tackle. And I'm excited about the outlook for Kingsley. I'm optimistic about it, but it's still a young, unproven left tackle. I think, they'll do a good job maximizing his ability, and they'll do a good job of protecting him as much as they can. but that's still a pretty big unknown for this team. So I think left tackle.
I mean, honestly, my biggest fear is like a regression to mean in terms of injuries, because I think they've been pretty lucky the last couple of years in terms of staying healthy. And so that's kind of my number one worry, but that's just kind of like a fear that's not really tangible, I guess. But just like a bad run of injuries would be something like that. Otherwise, I guess I think Snead was their most valuable player last year. And so I know I was kind of downplaying, how much they lost last year, but I do think Snead, he was kind of the attitude of the team, the definition. Like, we were led by our defense, and I think our defense was led by our corners. And because of those corners were so good, we could just blitz and tee off on the quarterback. And I think that kind of drove everything. And so I don't even think it's necessarily the wrong move not to pay him. I would be all in on the three-peat and just do whatever I could to get Snead back. That was kind of my train of thought at the time. But I think it might be more astute business-wise to have not paid him, because I think I don't think he's going to hit that peak again. Like, you're paying a guy off of his peak, and I don't think he quite reaches that level again, just because it's a hard level to reach. It's a very hard position. Like, you even saw it in the playoffs. Like, he gave up a touchdown or two, and it was like he's already kind of seeing this kind of trend back down. So I will say, just not having losing your most dominant position piece of last season, and kind of breaking up that tandem would be my biggest worry.
I'm pretty cold and heartless, and I wouldn't have paid L'Jarius either. I just with the stuff. It's like I tend to lean don't pay in a lot of situations. Like, there's some players I'll pay, but
I think it kind of comes down to like, how all in were you on this year, as opposed to keep building for the next 5 years. Because if you have your eyes on the next 5 years, then I think it was smart to not pay him. If you were all in on this year, which I kind of would include myself in that camp, I would just find any way to do it, even if it hurt you in 2025 and 2026.
Yeah. I mean, they paid Chris, so like that's one piece of it, right? So like they're all in-ish because they're paying on the wrong side of 30 for Chris here pretty quick here. So I don't know. There's a lot of tough decisions to make. L'Jarius is already missing practices in Tennessee, and like it's part of it's part of a plan and a management plan for Tennessee, but still, man, like that bothers me. It worries me a little bit, the injury piece of it. So he's a guy that's had injuries too. Like I get all the reasons to not pay him and everything. Right. Last question. This one's from Chiefs fan 69420.
I know that guy.
I do too. What is your favorite win? Have you?
Yeah. He gets down.
I bet he does. He sounds like a wild and crazy guy. What is your favorite win of the Mahomes era?
Oh, favorite win.
I know I'm just hitting you with this one. Just, you haven't had a chance to think about it at all. So, the floor is yours.
I would say, I think there are many answers you could give. Like, I don't think this is the right answer, but I think it's unequivocally my answer is the AFC Championship game win over the Bengals 2 years ago. The 2022, the revenge game on the Bengals, just because of all the injuries surrounding the team, them actually like being like a legitimate threat to us, like having beat us in the playoffs and then playing them again and being shorthanded and kind of having every excuse in that game to fold, like the receivers that go down in that game. And just like as it was going on, I even reached, as a fan, I reached the point where it's just like, man, this might be the end. I don't think we have enough. Mahomes is hurt. All his receivers are out. Like, we have every reason to lose this game, and to gut that one out and win it against a team that we would have lost 4 in a row to, and it would have just been so noisy around like the Bengals own the Chiefs, even though we would just have our little excuses here, like, oh man, every game's been close and we have these injuries. It wouldn't matter because they had won 4 in a row and 2 in a row in the playoffs against us. And there's no rebuttal to that. It's just, fuck, you're right. Like, you have our number. So to overcome that and gut out that win, that was my favorite win looking back over the Mahomes era.
That one's up there. That one probably is number one because, it would have been gut-wrenching to lose that one, and it was the most delicious win ever to win that one. That one was so satisfying.
I ran out in the street and just yelled.
Yeah.
And I've had neighbors that still talk to me about it, like, "What, dude, you were a maniac, man. Like, you woke up my dog." Like, I was pretty pissed at you.
The best part of that for me, we were in Vegas for the Shrine Bowl.
Ooh.
At Blue Wire's multi-million-dollar studio for it.
Were you on live?
We did a live watch party, and we were in the sickest studio I will ever be in.
Are you able to rewatch it? Because I would rewatch like my reactions to it.
I'll send you the link to it if you want to watch it, because it's awesome. But it's us in this ridiculous studio. Like,
I'll Photoshop me into it with giving like fake reactions after the fact.
I love it. No, it was we were going to do it in a really cool area in Vegas. You know, it was like in the Bellagio. It was like this. Yeah,
I remember the studio. It was awesome.
It was the win. Yeah, and so like we did a lot of. Yeah, it was just like that on top of getting to run my mouth after that game was a lot of fun. Because I've found Bengals fans to be the most unhinged.
I mean, there are truest rivals.
I think so. I maintain this. I love the Bills fans. I love Bills Mafia, and there's some like wonderful Bills Mafia people that are doing what we do here out there, and I love them to death. Like, I'm their biggest fan.
But I also love having a team to hate. Like, I want a team to hate. I love that we have a team like the Bengals that does have like some arguments against us, and they can chirp a little bit, and and we can just kind of go back and forth, and it's just like, fuck that team. Like I get the loving relationship with the Bills, and that is fun, but I want a team to hate.
Yeah, I love it. And the jokes write themselves. And it's been very satisfying. So,
well, what else would you say? Was that your answer?
Yeah. The other one, it is almost more of a moment, like the Titans game, in the AFC Championship game, the first AFC Championship. That one was also really satisfying, just because it was like, this dude keeps finding ways to surprise people, and you have the run that he has at the end of the first half.
That's probably that might be the best moment of his career, was that run.
That one, and then
every Chiefs fan remembers like that specific one. It was just, I mean, right before halftime, like, so you have all of halftime to like celebrate that, like, oh my God.
He keeps doing it. He can't keep getting away with doing this, and he does. And then, but then he throws that, he uncorks that throw to Sammy, and it's just him raising his arms above his head, because he knew that sealed it. And it was like, that was kind of a moment for me. Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell, but I got the chills.
You know exactly that feeling of just like, you knew how different everything was, and you knew they were going to win the Super Bowl. You just knew it. And that's fresh off of the comeback blowout where they're down 24, then they win by 20 against the Texans. So like,
so many epic moments. So many. I mean, I just sometimes just reflect. You said you're just sitting there late at night. It's just like, holy, like, you just like remember, like, we won 3 of the last 4 the last 5 Super Bowls. Like, that is
been to 4 of the last 5.
You can't even wrap your mind around it. It just hits you sometimes. Like, whoa, that's insane.
They tied a game with 13 seconds left, and we didn't even talk about it as like the best moment. It's just like, it's insane, man.
Or our first Super Bowl win, which was, I mean, that we've all been waiting. Like, most of us have been waiting for our whole end. So
yeah, I think the build up to the Super Bowl was equally as, emotional. Like, there's just different. I've maintained this too. I don't enjoy watching the Super Bowl. I hate it. I can't enjoy it at all.
Martin?
Yeah, it makes I'm a miserable mess watching it.
You're nervous?
Yeah, it's just there's too much emotion behind it, and I just sit there, and it's like you can't enjoy it truly because you're just too busy stressed about every single play to a level where I just can't enjoy it. And so I think I enjoyed last one a little bit more, and I was
the pressure's off at this point. So I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think like the first Super Bowl kind of loosened that up, and it was
the second one was legacy to a degree because it's hard to get to, and then the third one was like, this is the upper echelon. It's over. He's the second best quarterback, and inarguably one of the top 2 quarterbacks of all time. I'll argue he's the best to ever do it, and I will continue to do that. But
until Dylan Raiola comes around.
That's true. And with that, we are going to end this show. That's 21 questions. That's his Dirkness. Thank you to him. Thank you to Dylan Raiola. I'm Ken Swanson. We'll catch you later.